Not feeling it. Much better. Hey BBs, it's Plastic. It's Jade back with you guys for another video. How are y'all doing today? I hope we're all doing very, very, very well. Today we're back with another video, and in today's video, I want to sit down with you guys and kind of Google chat and talk about the Bratz Rock Angelz reproduction dolls. It's kind of like a yearly retrospective as these dolls came out, and I think of 2020, was it 2021? 2021, like October, November era. And these dolls came out and it was definitely a roller coaster of a ride with them. And I think it's definitely, when they came out, it was far before my channel, so I didn't have obviously a video to make it to sit down with you guys and Google chat. But kind of here as a retrospective, I think it'd be fun to kind of talk about them because these dolls were definitely a point in history for the Bratz brand. Very bad point, but I think it was very, very interesting, and it set a whole precedent, I think, for the whole reboot of the brand, and it was definitely something that should not go unnoticed, and it's definitely part of history that is going to be in the doll history books for a long, long, long time. There's never been a release like this that has truly just set off all the alarms. Like, there's never been a doll release that I've ever seen gone this poorly, and I mean that in the most respect because they have truly changed as a brand from this point in time in their run, and it's so crazy cool to see how they've grown past this. And everything that I talk about is going to be past Bratz, and I respect them a lot more after this launch, to be honest with you guys. And there's been a lot of growth. So before we say anything, before we talk our little talk about the Bratz, I just want to say that they're a much different brand from right now. If you guys have not kept up with Bratz, they're far different from what they were in 2021, and even from the last couple of months, they're a very, very different brand from what they are now, and I'm just, again, appreciative of that change and that growth, because you never see a big company like MGA make a turnover like that, with like they did with the Bratz Rock Angelz and, you know, current Bratz dolls. Sorry, I had to fix Chloe and Yasmin, because they weren't really in frame, and neither am I. I'm kind of wonky a little bit today, sorry. But in today, I also want to talk about and show you guys my Rock Angelz Jade doll that I just picked up for $10 at the half off store, which you can kind of see as a testimony of how poorly these dolls did. So as we unbox this doll and kind of go through her, I just want to talk about the Bratz Rock Angelz dolls because, again, they came out when the Bratz brand was kind of back in its reboot era, you know, very much in that reproduction state, and they were reproducing. This was the line that came after the first 20 years reproduction, so it was like, you know, the ones that were super hard to find, Chloe, Yasmin, Jade, and Sasha, and those dolls were released in, like, July of 2021, and they were a big hit. Like, I remember when I was going for the 2020 Bratz dolls, like the reproduction, the first wave, the 2000 ones, let's call them the 2000s Bratz, they were so hard to find. Like, you could not find them from launch. Like, they launched at Hot Topic, and it was this mess of a roller coaster to find them, and once you finally found them, I had so much fun with them. They weren't, like, the best facially, looking back at it as a bigger Bratz fan, but when I first was getting into Bratz, they were my first real Bratz dolls. I was so happy to have them, and when Rock Angelz came out, there's a lot of hype for it, because they did such a well job on most of the dolls from the 20th anniversary. They had saran hair, the first batches did, they had high quality clothing, and they had kept that original price point of, not original, but like they kept the price point very, very affordable for the Bratz, and it was such a good moment. And then these popped up, and like pictures came, no, I think the first thing that we saw from these dolls was Sasha and Roxy, and they leaked from like a Taobao, or someone got them early, and it was a couple days earlier before we saw the stock photos. And once those pictures came out, the Bratz brand definitely changed forever after that. And I think once the stock photos came out, a lot of the Bratz fans lost so much trust in the Bratz brand, which is definitely understandable, because seeing what the Bratz brand was before the 20th anniversary, it was very different. They've obviously went through a lot of ups and downs with just the different eras of Bratz. You know, 2010s was a hit or miss. 2015 had a lot of misses. I like the 2015 Bratz. I don't own any, and I'm not planning on owning any of them, but they're not as bad as I think a lot of people make them out to be. Oh. So when we saw these stock photos, they were all the wonkiest dolls I've ever seen in my entire life being used for a stock photo. And it's crazy that, I don't know who approved of those stock photos and who approved of the dolls overall, but they were definitely on something, because if y'all see the dolls on the screen right now, they are definitely funkylicious. Sasha is an orange hot dog. Roxy is looking anyway but forward. Jade has the biggest lip injections the entire world has ever had. Yasmin's wearing pink lipstick for some reason, and Chloe's just... I don't even know what that doll looked like in that stock photo. I'm going based off memory. But the fashions for these dolls were pretty much up to par with the Bratz fashions, and you can kind of see her in this box. You can also tell that from this box, this doll is missing quite a few things that were essential to the Bratz Rock Angelz brand. They were missing the CD, and it was replaced by a QR code, and it was kind of like in a Q&A, MGA representative said that it was to stay current and that no one uses CDs anymore. That is one of the worst excuses I've ever heard in my entire life of someone cheaping out. It's okay to say that the CD was too expensive to produce and that it was just easier to do a QR code, but saying that it was current is very much not true, because CDs and vinyls and stuff has been kind of coming back a little bit. There's definitely a huge demand for them. The Target section, there's vinyls everywhere. There's people... I don't collect vinyl. I don't ever want to collect. They're so expensive. But there's definitely a huge pop in CDs. It's very nostalgic to have a CD. So I think that being an excuse wasn't great. The stereos on these dolls were also completely upside down, which isn't like a big deal to most people. I don't even care about it now. It's not like the biggest end of the world. But the fact that they could not pay enough attention to detail when designing the box to flip them upside down is crazy, because all you have to do is look at the dolls, the OG dolls, and tell that these are upside down. But other than that, I think the box was pretty much fine. This was secondhand, not secondhand, but it was from like a discount store, so like the box was kind of falling apart, so it's not like the best idea to kind of show you guys what the box looks like, but they're pretty much there. They're in the box. It's nothing crazy. But again, when those stock photos came out, like the entire Bratz community just totally flipped, and it was such a different, you know, vision for the dolls. And people got the dolls in person, and they were so much worse than the actual stock photos. The dolls were very pixelated. They had weird matte... I mean, they had matte bodies from the 2001 reproductions, but these ones were, like, still matte. The skirts... Okay, this skirt was not the exact same skirt as the original skirt. I'll do a comparison to my original Jade, because the only actual Rock Angel doll that I have from, like, 2005, I want to say these were reproduced from, is Jade, who I got from a seller on Mercari, and that's the only one that I have. But, looking at pictures, the skirt does not fit her. The skirt was also really, really weird. It used a ribbon instead of like a full-on like underpant that the dolls used to use. So you can definitely see that these dolls were also $36.99. So these are like essentially $40 Bratz dolls. And they came with such a low quality that it was very laughable, to be honest with you guys. They kept most of the accessories besides the CD. I think that's what it was, the only thing that was really missing. But yeah, and there was a huge amount of backlash for these dolls when they first, again, were released and stock photos were coming out and people were receiving them in the mail, because there were so many... If I can go back and look at the Amazon reviews, there were so many Jades of the first batch who had her eye to her, like, the side. Like, the eye wasn't even on her face. And I don't know how they produced the Bratz dolls when these were, you know, being produced and everything. I don't know how they got passed from quality control. And I don't know if anyone was even awake in the office when these were being released, because... hello. But right when the criticism happened, there was an instant pull on Roxy and Sasha in specific, and they were not available anywhere, so you could only buy Chloe, Jade, and Yasmin from the first batch. And yeah, we've seen how those went. They didn't go very well, and that was kind of the thing. And then there was the first batches all up until springtime of 2022, where we started seeing the second batches of iconic characters like Roxy, I think, was the first one we saw, then Sasha, and then we eventually saw the second batches of all the rest of the dolls. I don't actually remember what order it went in, to be honest with you guys, but there was an order, and I can't remember who was it what. Maybe Yasmin was first. I can't remember. But there was definitely different, like, an order of when the dolls we got to see the second batches, because they did fix their wrong very, very quickly. It was from, I think, November to, I want to say, maybe April, March... And the time that they fixed the dolls, they fixed them. The second batch dolls still use pixelated screenings. And let me get her out of the box, because I'm, like, just talking now. I just don't want it to be too noisy, because, God, it's like you have to, like, fight these dolls to get them out. And I just want her for her jacket, which is actually really funny. I don't even, like, want that. Oh, also, these dolls use nylon hair instead of the saran hair, so... That wasn't, like, the biggest deal for me, to be honest, because I don't really mind Bratz using a nylon fiber in their hair. I kind of like it, to be honest. Like, it's fine for me. But these dolls were also had longer hair than the original Rock Angelz dolls did. It was just nylon, which it's not. Saran is obviously my preferred thing for Bratz. I think Saran just feels very like soft and nice. But they did use the nylon for the these reproductions, and they kind of used them ever since. They used nylon right now for like the designer dolls, the what other ones, like the Reproductions, all the Girls Night Out uses premium nylon, which I appreciate more than poly weight. God. And, oh God, her head is really loose on there, but you can kind of just see how this face, like, maybe if you're not an original, like not original, but if you're not like a long-term Bratz collector, then you probably don't, ooh, her head is really loose. You probably don't see the difference, and like this, like, just looks like a normal Bratz face, but you could definitely see comparing to the original Rock Angelz Jade, the differences just in the face and in the cool tones. The original dolls were much cooler toned, and they looked a lot more grungy. I'm gonna take this off, because this is not her original, and this guitar is just nothing. But you can kind of just see in like the pants and stuff how very different these look. This looks a lot cheaper. This looks like a real denim. The shirt was also much less saturated, which could just be a testimony of like time and how things fade and everything. But I think the much cooler tone look and the much, you know, lighter look looks a lot better than this. And you can kind of even see just from now like how different the hair is, how this, I mean, this is box hair, and but you could see like the lengths. And I'll do it up close in a minute, but I just want to get out of the box and kind of give you, I didn't do that correctly at all. Like, that wasn't even close. Poor Sasha. Oh my God. But I guess my story with these dolls and getting them was after the second batches were kind of found in Targets, it was like they had a release date of, oh God, this head is really loose. I'm going to fix it really quickly because it, like, they're not hard to put off, but that was going to bother me. I'll be back. Life hack, if you ever want your Bratz dolls or any doll head to stay on more securely, just use a rubber band. Pop the head off and use a rubber band. Bratz dolls are much easier to move their heads than like Monster High, but I don't know. But once the second like batch came out, which was again a super fast turnover. I don't think I've ever seen a turnover that quick. But while there were second batches of the dolls being released, like with like the fixed facial screenings, which just meant the eyes got smaller on Sasha. I think Roxy's eyes got more forward. Jade's eyes got smaller. And her lips got smaller. Yasmin's lips went from like a really big pink to a very more reddish tone. And I don't remember what happened. I think Chloe's eyes and lips just got smaller. Like, a lot of the lips were just gigantic. And they got more Bratz size. But there was definitely lingering effects of the Rock Angelz dolls on the rest of the dolls. Like, GCDSD, Holiday Felicia, and the Pride 2-pack had pixelation, which was kind of, I guess, an effect of these dolls. These dolls had horrible, not horrible, but like pixelation where you can definitely tell they're not sprayed and they're not pretty like the original dolls are. Since then, I think we started to see with Girls Night Out in Series 2 of the Bratz Reproductions, from later in the year 2022, that they definitely fixed that issue, and they started using, I want to say, spray screenings again. They still use a nice nylon hair, but they went back to the original face molds, because the head sculpt is a modified version that they used from, still says 2021, but the 2021, or the 2001 is here, but it should be here on the original dolls, and again, I'll show you guys when I get over there, because I promise I'll do a better little thing of Jade. But they definitely fixed their wrongs for a cute minute. And I'm happy that they did that because it was definitely needed. If the Bratz brand just went like this route of the first batches of the dolls, and they were kind of just trying to feed off nostalgia, I think they understood that they can't just do that, and they actually have to serve you a good product to make it worth that $40, and that Bratz is a lot more than just nostalgia, and I hope that they continue to understand that Bratz is a bigger brand than just riding off nostalgia, and I hope every legacy brand, I'm talking to Monster High, that we learned that, they have learned, I think they're more than nostalgia, that these brands have so much more to offer, and they're so much better than just being what they were 10, 20 years ago, and I'm happy that, again, Bratz is kind of learning that, and they're definitely fixing their wrongs, and that their dolls have to be up to a quality and a standard for people to buy them, because people aren't just spending $40 on any doll anymore, especially when the market is big and booming, when we have Rainbow High, OMG, Monster High, and a bunch of other things to look forward to than just a Bratz doll. So I am again, very happy that they kind of listened to their fan base so quickly. Like, it was literally like I think less than a week of Sasha and Roxy being completely off Amazon to when they listened to the criticism, because they probably lost so much money when these dolls were released, when they had to like throw out so much product. And it just makes me happy that they listen to us, again, very, very quickly. It's something that not a lot of brands do, and I'm just happy that they did that. They truly care about the fan base, when they see that. And again, there isn't the second batches aren't the best dolls, I'm not gonna lie. My Targets had only the only Target that had the Rock Angel dolls was one out of like the 5 that are very close to me, and they had them for months. Like, they did not sell that well. And I remember actually going to get my Chloe because I wanted, when the second batches were coming out, I really, really, really wanted the whole set. Like, I wanted them so badly because, again, I was a new Bratz collector at the time, and I was very, very into FOMO. I was very, I want the newest Bratz dolls because I want to be seen as a Bratz collector. I want a bigger Bratz collection. I'm sick of only having the first 4 dolls and a couple other random ones, and I want a big Bratz collection. And I really rushed into my Bratz collection, which I'm happy that I have a Bratz collection now, but I was just very, very into the whole hype around the Rock Angel dolls, and I didn't really think that much. I was definitely looking out for wonkiness when I first saw them, and the first time that I actually went to my Target to find the Rock Angel dolls, they only had Yasmin and Jade, and they were awful. All of them were horrible. And then I went back a couple weeks later, and it was literally like the pouring, hailing rain, and it was early one Saturday morning because I had to work at the time, like late night shifts at a restaurant. So when I had time to doll hunt, it would have to be in the mornings on Saturdays or Sunday nights. And there was a Target running ad that they were kind of doing at the time, where it was like, buy a certain amount of dolls and you get some points off or whatever they do. Like money off is like $5 off, $10 off my Rock Angel's Chloe. And I dragged my dad to Target, and in the pouring, hailing rain, and they set out a fresh batch of the new Rock Angel Chloe dolls, and despite her being very pixelated, I got that doll, and it was the happiest, not the happiest, but one of the happiest doll moments I had, because it was such a weird time for me again in my life, and because there's a lot of happening in my personal life when these dolls were coming out. Just like high school was very different from coming back from the COVID pandemic stuff, and I don't want to get too much into me, but it was definitely a weird time. So getting that doll just felt very like vindicated, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but because I felt like a Bratz collector. I felt like I was hunting for the dolls like I should have been, and that I finally got this Rock Angel's Chloe that was so ugly, but I wanted her so badly, and I was just happy to have her. And I played with that doll. Like, I brought her around that whole couple weeks. Like, I just remember like loving that doll for that month, and wow, it was so special. And then getting Jade and Yasmin were the next ones that I found, and I went to a Target 2 hours away because I was at my grandmother's house, and the Target around her had the Rock Angel dolls on the Target app, and I definitely had to go check them out. And I got my Yasmin and Jade at the same time because they were running another deal. It was around Easter time, so there's a bunch of Target deals going on at that time. And they were my Yasmin's actually not that wonky, to be honest. When I show you guys her, you'll be pleasantly surprised that she's not horrible. And the Jade doll that I bought, and I'll probably insert pictures because again, I don't have her anymore. I sold her off just because I didn't want her, and she was so wonky. Like, it was second batch still, but the eyes were 2 different dimensions away. They were horrible. And then I think it took that weekend, Sasha and Roxy went into stock on the Target app only for ordering online, not for in person. And I quickly ordered them super quickly. I ordered Roxy and Sasha, and my Roxy doll that I got came in perfectly fine. She was second batch, but the doll that I got from Sasha was the first batch doll, and she was so butt ugly in person, y'all. I'll try to insert a picture of my doll. I posted her a bunch of times on my TikTok. And then I returned her, and I ordered her again from Target, and I got another first batch doll. And then I think a couple weeks later, Amazon finally had her in stock, and I ordered her on Amazon, and I got a second batch doll. Still mad wonky. So if anyone in the comments below has a first original, like 2004 or 5, I don't remember what year these dolls came out in, please sell me your original Sasha doll for not $50. I would get up to $40. I'll buy your original Sasha doll. It could be naked. It could be just the head. I just want the doll so badly. So I would and be interested if anyone's selling her. But she's so bad. But she was my final doll that I got, and I guess this is my new one. But I'm gonna steal her jacket. I don't know, maybe I'll restyle her, maybe I'll keep her, because I kind of like love this long hair, and her face isn't as bad as my original one was. But I think it's time to go over to my desk, and I can give you guys like a close-up of the Rock Angel Bratz dolls. It's definitely a thing that you don't want to see, but we're gonna do it anyway. I think it makes sense to look at Jade first, because I did just unbox her with you guys. But you can definitely see how like pixelated this face is. Like, it doesn't look the best. And comparing her to her original doll, you can just see the massacre that happened on this poor reproduction. Look at how gorgeous the original doll is. And, like, you can see, like, her face is, like, airbrush ma. Like, it's gorgiana. And then this doll is, like, the evil, like, I'm looking at you. This is not the same doll, like, at all, in any coincidence. And you can even see, like, the top is just so different in the pants. And, wow, it's just, I know, like, these shoes are actually original, but, like, it doesn't matter. It's just crazy how different they are. And even the skin tone is wild. Like, this doll is much paler, and this one's kind of orangey. Yeah. So, that was her. She definitely doesn't look the best. But, again, considering the first batches, I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. And they all kind of came with a little card of, you know, what their outfits were. They had a second outfit, they had sunglasses, and they had a couple other accessories. I will say, these little flip phones are really, really fierce, and I love them as an inclusion. And I do have her original, actual, snake skirt, so you can definitely see the differences between the original and the second batch, I guess. The first batches were even worse than this, but, very, very different. They don't even look like the same design. Like, these are, like, more dots, and these are actual, like, snake skin. It's very crazy, and you can kind of see in here, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is, like, the, little, like, underwear thing, and, like, this is just, like, a ribbon. Kind of horrible. Here's an up-close kind of Yasmin's face. It's not the worst, to be honest. Like, I definitely have seen worse, Yasmin's, and the outfit's really, really nice. I actually do have some of her real clothes, and I don't mean to call it real, but this is her original. Kind of see how different, like, the Rock Angels, like, even the lettering is, like, the glitter is kind of different, which I don't really mind, but it's a very, very different kind of tank top. And I do actually also have her jeans, which let me get in frame. These are very weird. I mean, these aren't that different, to be honest with you guys. They're just faded. So I feel like Yasmin was kind of the best out of the second batches. We also have Roxy, who I think was also a really, really good doll out of the second batches, to be honest. Like, her face is really, really pretty. Despite it being pixelated, I think this is actually a step up from her original doll. And the outfit's pretty much up to par, I think, with... I don't have any of her original pieces, but she's stunning. Like, I genuinely love this doll. Chloe is also here. She's kind of, again, wonky, busted, pixelated. But I just have so many good memories with her that I can never, ever, like, hate her that much. And the outfit's, I think, fierce. It's not much to do. And then the final one. You guys are all going to be so scared. Look at that face, Ma. The mug is not mugging at all. So please, again, desperate attention to sell her. She's even worse with, like, the hat off. Like, that doll... And I accepted... Like, that's the worst part, is that I accepted this doll. Like, ooh, she's so... She's in her own world, y'all. She's not even on this planet, dolls. But yeah, the pixelation isn't the greatest, and the outfit is... But the outfit's actually really, really nice. I think these dolls are really, really good fashion packs for long-time Bratz collectors who maybe don't have all the pieces, who maybe the leather is peeling on the dolls, but I don't think they're ever going to ever compare to the originals, which is crazy. But again, the Bratz has definitely learned from their mistakes, and this is the Series 2 of Bratz, and you can definitely see how this face looks stunning. Like, the face is on there. It's a little bit wonky on my Kiana, but nothing ever compared to this. Like, this, you could just see, like, the facial differences, how this is a much more smoother, cleaner eye shape, and it doesn't look as, like, pixelated. Like, that just shines. Also, the shine on these dolls, like, the eye glare, just taking pictures was so different. It was horrible. But again, I like the accessories. Like, everything was chromatic and stuff on the Rock Angel Reproductions, but definitely nowhere near where the brand is today, which I, again, truly just appreciate just how different they have grown. And just kind of comparing, again, the faces to a first original Bratz doll to a now reproduction, and you can just see the big difference. And this is just one of the things that is so rare with doll companies and just companies in general, is listening to the audience, because we went from this to this in less than a year, which is insane to me, to be honest with you guys. Actually, maybe it was a year. Maybe it was a full year, because these came out, like, October 1st. These came out around, like, November, October. So maybe it was, like, a full year, I think, until we started getting sprayed faces. But regardless, I'm still, like, happy about it. Like, I think it's a great direction for the Bratz brand, and I'm so excited to see what they continue to do and to continue evolving, because we've already seen, like, the Pretty and Punk dolls, and those faces look a lot better than whatever this was. So, yeah, in the comments below, please let me know your stories and your opinions on the Rock Angels Bratz dolls, because everyone has an opinion on these dolls. And if you were a newer collector when these first came out, did y'all think these were gorgeous? Because I definitely did. Oh my god. I remember thinking the original Jade was so pretty. And then, like, looking at their, the actual original one, a completely different story. And, yeah, I just think this release was one of the strangest releases in a doll brand that has ever happened. Especially to a legacy brand like Bratz that was so just historic. I think Bratz was such a good brand, and then seeing them do this was wild. But again, I'm just grateful for the appreciation, the detail with the newer dolls, and that they can fix their wrongs, and that they took responsibility for it. Like, we've never ever seen a doll brand take responsibility for a horrible product. So it's so essential that they did a good job on these dolls, and I'm just happy that they fixed their wrongs again with the newer dolls. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm just so grateful that the Bratz brand listened to us. Like, it's so rare. So I'm very, very thankful for that. So yeah, again, please in the comments below, let me know all your thoughts and opinions on these dolls. I'm really, really, really dying to know your stories and stuff, because, again, everyone has different ones. And yeah, thank you guys again, though, so much for watching today's video. It was super interesting, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it as much as I did. It was super fun to kind of film, and I hope to see you guys all in the next video. I love you all so very much. Please have a fantastic night, and see you in your nightmares. Bye!